Bonjour! Welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
I'm Sally.
The Kabuki Warriors defeated Roxanne, Perez and Raquel Rodriguez.
Finn Bálor defeated Dragon Lee.
Penta and the War Raiders defeated The New Day and Grayson Waller.
Dominik Mysterio defeated AJ Styles to retain his Intercontinental Championship.
And Bron Breakker and Bronson defeated Jey Uso and LA Knight. Now, if you want to know what actually happened... Oh, and by the way, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So thank you. If you know, then you know who you are.
Out steps the man.
El Chad does it again.
And wait till you see who saves Jey.
We see CM Punk in the back waiting at the entrance of the stadium for the arrival of Seth Rollins before we see Jey enter through the crowd and down to the ring. Jey's in no mood to run it back, and after fudging their names he calls out Bron, Seth and Reed. Of course they don't answer, but LA Knight does. Knight said that Seth lives in his wife's shadow and then blames Jey for Seth winning, citing that they could have put him through a table and finished him. Knight adds that if Jey's having a tough time understanding, they'll get him up to speed real quick. Jey gets in Knight's face telling him to get him up to speed, but the pair are then interrupted by Bronson heading out. Breakker says that Heyman is in hospital, as is Reigns, then says that there are a couple of dogs off the leash as poor Heyman's not here to hold them back, and then vows to put them in the hospital as well. Reed then tells the crowd to acknowledge their tribal thief and then points at Jey and Knight saying they're next. Alright Goldberg. Breakker then proposes a match between the four of them, with Knight replying that he and Jey can go at it another time, but if the greasy warthog and the cross-eyed half-wit want to go, they can. Jey gets the crowd to yeet, and I think we have our main event, which I'm actually looking forward to.
Backstage we see Io Sky apologise to the Kabuki Warriors, with Asuka saying it's okay, we're family. Sky asks if she can help, with Asuka saying, unlike Rhea, we don't need help. Sky says she's done with Rhea, with Asuka then heading off. Sane tells Sky that everything is going to be alright.
So, first up, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day against the Kabuki Warriors. Bit of a slow start until the Warriors double team Rodriguez, with Sane then covering Perez for two before she and Roxanne then run through their circus tricks and Perez tags out. By circus tricks I mean running the ropes and diving out the way of each other with tumbles and jumps.
We then head to the outside as we hit a break, come back and see Team Judgment Day keeping Sane in their corner. A double team from the Judgment Day then score them a 2-count cover, but of course Sane manages to get to her corner, bringing in Asuka, who drop kicks Rodriguez from the top rope, kicks and punches Perez and then locks her in an armbar, but Rodriguez makes the save.
Big Mommy Cool levers Asuka with Roxanne's help and covers for two. Perez tags back in, springboard moonsaults Asuka and covers, but it's broken by Sane. Asuka then dumps Sane and Rodriguez out the ring, with Perez rolling her up. Asuka reverses into the Asuka lock, though with Perez rolling through again and scoring another 2-count.
Asuka then knocks Rodriguez from the apron, with Sane following up with the insane elbow from the turnbuckle to the outside. Perez then looks for pop rocks, but Asuka counters it, catches Roxanne with a leg that never actually caught her and goes to cover, but for some reason changes her mind and picks her up instead, which is all very, very strange.
It looked silly. Very silly.
Asuka locks in the Asuka lock again, with Perez, of course, tapping out.
We head backstage next and see Adam Pearce asking who will be the next Women's World Champion. Luckily for us, he has an idea. Stephanie Vaquer will be facing off against Io Sky at WrestlePalooza for the title.
Out next, Finn Bálor with JD McDonough, and he'll be facing off against Dragon Lee. Just before the match begins, we cut to CM Punk still waiting for Seth to arrive. A technical start to begin with holds, reverses and counters. Lee gets a 2 count after kicking Bálor in the midriff and then follows up with a Hurricane Rana and kick to send Bálor to the outside.
Of course Lee dives after him, which then takes us to a break. We come back to see Bálor in control, which doesn't last long as Lee fights out and hits him with a sit-out powerbomb and covers for 2. A crossbody from the top rope scores Lee another 2. Lee then misses a middle rope move, allowing Bálor to shotgun dropkick him and set up for the coup de grace. Well, why not? We're in France.
Lee knocks Bálor down though and Hurricane Rana's JD from the apron before heading back to Bálor, but Bálor pulls Lee from the top rope and then follows up with a coup de grace. Bálor covers, Bálor wins.
Backstage, we see Io Sky speaking with Nikki Bella when they're interrupted by the Kabuki Warriors. Asuka says she will help Sky against Raquel, with Sky saying she doesn't need her help. Asuka insists she'll help and then walks off. Sane tries to speak to Sky, but Asuka shouts for her, with Sane then leaving.
We see a Saturday night main event advertised for November the 1st and then head backstage to see Dom telling JD and Bálor that they have to figure something out for Styles. Adam Pearce then appears and bans Bálor and JD from ringside. Bálor can't keep the smile from his face upon hearing the news.
He really wants him to lose that title, doesn't he? Up next, 6-man tag team action as the New Day and Big G take on the War Raiders and Penta. On the way to the ring, Woods takes a fan's phone and drops it to the floor, with Waller then standing on it and breaking it. It takes seconds for us to head outside, with Eric jumping from the apron to take out Kofi, while Ivar cannonballs Waller and Woods. Penta then follows up with a leap from the turnbuckle, taking out everybody.
After a break, we come back to find Woods, Jeff Jarrett strutting across the ring and then kicking Eric and covering for 2. Eric manages a tag, as does Woods, with Ivar then coming in and taking out the newly tagged Waller with a crossbody. Ivar then misses a corner attack, with Waller and Ivar both tagging out, bringing in Woods and Penta.
Penta then takes on both Waller and Woods, transitioning from a roll through with Woods into a DDT to Waller. It did look very good. Penta then hits his headstand in the corner double foot to the midriff attack and covers for 2. Have they got a name for that yet? If you know, can you let us know? Because I'm fed up with saying that. Woods then counters a Penta driver, with Penta bringing Eric back in, who suffers a beatdown from Woods. Waller's rolling flatliner and a splash to the back from Kofi from the top rope. The cover was broken on 2 by Penta.
Eric then picks up Woods and throws him up as Ivar comes off the top rope and lands on him. Woods, not Eric. It's called the Fallout apparently and looks rather dangerous considering the size of the man landing on you. Penta then re-enters, legal man of course, uses Ivar's back to get some height and hits the Mexican Destroyer on Woods. Penta then covers and gets the victory for his team.
That Fallout move was, if that goes wrong, that is horrific.
Yeah.
In the locker room, Kathy Kelly is with Rhea Ripley and asks her if getting close to Sky complicates her own title ambitions. Rhea says she respects Io and Stephanie, but has never taken her eye off the prize and will do whatever it takes to get a championship shot. Kelly references the tension between Rhea and the Kabuki Warriors, when of course they appear.
Rhea says wanting a title shot has nothing to do with her friendship with Io, with Asuka saying her and Sky are not friends and to stay away. Rhea says she's been trying to play nice and not to push her. Asuka says she's Asuka, she'll push anyone she wants and that nobody is ready for Asuka.
She is funny. I don't know if she's doing it on purpose or not, but you can't help but laugh. We then see Roxanne telling Adam Pearce that she should be added to the match at WrestlePalooza for the Women's World title, when in walks Lyra Valkyria. Perez and Lyra then start arguing about Bayley, with Rodriguez also joining in. The three continue to argue until Pearce gets rid of the Judgment Day women. Pearce then says to Lyra that he's spoken to Bayley and that she's okay, said some weird things, and we'll be back soon. Lyra then says she needs to get back in the ring and asks for Judgment Day. Either one. Pearce says he can make that happen for next week. So watch out for Valkyria against McDonough.
Out next, AJ Styles against Dominik Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. Dom attacks AJ while Styles is drinking in the adulation from the crowd and before the bell has even rang. But it doesn't last as Styles drop kicks Dom, sending him to the outside. Styles leaps after him as we break, and when we come back, we find Dom in control.
Styles fights back with a splash in the corner, knee to the back of the head and cover for 2. Dom then sends Styles to the floor and keeps him outside with the baseball slide. Dom then leaps onto AJ from the apron, but Styles catches him and slams him onto the announcer's desk. Both men are down at this point as we break again.
We come back to a tornado DDT from Dom, with the pair then exchanging blows in the middle of the ring. A neckbreaker then gets Styles a 2 count, as does a gutbuster. Styles then looks for the Styles Clash, but Dom counters and hits his new move called the Mullet-O-Matic, covers and gets 2. After throwing Styles into the ring post, Dom hits a Michinoku driver and covers again for 2.
We see the 3 Amigos a frog splash and cover once again for 2, with Dom then setting off for the 619. Styles catches it though, hits the Styles Clash, covers. Dom breaks the cover by placing his foot on the ropes. Styles then hits a Bloody Sunday brainbuster, no, me either, and exits the ring for a phenomenal forearm.
While he waits for Dom to get up, El Grande Americano appears, pulls Styles down on the apron and then headbutts his sternum, with Styles then falling back into the ring. All this time the referee was checking on Dom. Dom then slowly climbs to the top rope, lands a frog splash and covers Styles for the 1, 2, 3.
I don't think anybody was expecting him to retain.
No.
But I'm glad he has. Because if Styles had it, it would be boring.
Yes. I would still like him to have it.
Let's move on. Boring. We then learn that Heyman has a damaged throat, something to do with the larynx, and that Reigns suffered multiple fractured ribs and will be out indefinitely, which means he's off to film Street Fighter with him playing Akuma, if you weren't aware.
We head backstage again to Jackie Redmond with LA Knight. She asks if he and Jay can get on, with Knight, well, not really answering straight as usual. He says they can either survive together or die apart. If you do dirt, you get dirt. Don't make me give you dirt. Jay then appears with the two eyeballing each other. Jay says, stay out of my way tonight and we won't have a problem, and is about to yeet when Knight stops him and says, yeah.
We then cut to Punk, still waiting on Rollins, and he's with Rhea. So is this who will be taking Seth and Becky on with? Rhea says she doesn't think he's coming and then commiserates him on losing at Clash. Adam Pearce then rolls up and tells Punk that Seth's in the building. Punk says how and then tells Pearce he'll handle him. He asks how because at the start of the show Punk said that this was the only way into the building. The thing is, it's never explained how he got in the building.
No.
So there must be another entrance. I mean, obviously there is, but
I'd have thought so. We have a vignette from Rusev next saying he's a beacon and to be tough, courageous, be unstoppable and be like Rusev. He added that Sheamus brought his Irish body but his French spirit showed up and he caved. He finishes by warning the tough men that he's devastating now and free.
I wonder who he's going to be facing off against next. Anyway, out next, CM Punk. He says he's hijacking the show until Seth comes to the ring so they can face each other man to man. Seth's music then hits and out comes, which we guessed would be Becky Lynch. And it is Becky Lynch. I think the man-to-man line kind of gave it away. Becky heads to the ring and tells Punk she's the man he's going to have to deal with. The crowd then begin to chant for AJ Lee.
Punk tells Becky to call Seth to tell him to come out. Becky says, you don't tell me what to do, with Punk saying he can't be dealing with this and heads out the ring.
Don't blame him.
Becky tells him he's going to listen, with Punk saying Seth's a coward. Becky complains that crowds would chant Punk's name while she would be having matches, with the crowd then chanting CM Punk.
Becky then claims that her and her husband, who's her husband again?
Seth Rollins.
Ah, right. Got the business to where it is today, with the crowd then telling her to shut the duck up. Becky says the same old about Sports Illustrated, saying she's the best female wrestler of all time. Not after last night, they're not. And then tells Punk he needs to get out of the way because he doesn't fit the vision.
Punk says the vision is a bit blurry.
His glasses.
And he's the best in the world.
Debatable.
But it's not just him saying it, it's 30,000 maniacs saying it. Punk says that Seth runs from adversity and hides behind Heyman, Bronson, and now behind his wife. Punk says Seth is a paper champion and that this will never be over.
Out walks Seth, saying if you got something to say, then come up here and say it to my face. Punk goes to head up to Seth, but Becky steps in his way. Punk then gets around her, but Seth heads back to backstage. Punk then turns round with Lynch, then starts to slap and hit him, asking him what he's going to do and calls him pathetic. Punk just replies that he's going to make Seth regret he ever cashed in on him, and Becky's going to regret putting her hands on him. Punk then leaves the ring with Becky saying she already does now she has his sweat on her hands. Punk heads up the rampway and to the back, with Becky telling him to keep walking when he gets there.
We hit a break, come back and see Punk backstage looking for Rollins. Pierce then appears telling him they've gone, but he knows where he works and he'll be here on Monday.
Oh, where does he work?
Punk then asks where SmackDown is on Friday, with Pierce saying Chicago. Punk replies, tremendous, and then heads off.
Why is he so pleased about that?
That's where he's from.
I wonder if his wife might be there. So, last match of the night, Jey Uso and LA Knight against Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. We get an early yeet off as Knight and Jey take turns in hitting Reed before Breakker comes in and takes a punch from both faces as well. Bron then suffers 2 hip attacks before being covered for 2. Bron then turns it around by launching Jey over the top rope just as we hit a break.
We come back to find Jey being held in the heel's corner as they isolate the Uso. Jey then ducks an attack by Reed and manages to reach Knight, who drops Reed with a jumping neck breaker and then lands a top rope elbow. Bron then distracts Knight, allowing Reed to senton Knight and cover for 2. Breakker comes back in and tosses Knight across the ring, following up with a couple of suplexes.
A chinlock is then applied, with Knight nearly fighting out. Only Bron throws him across the ring again with a release German suplex. Knight finally makes the tag, with Jey downing Breakker with a hip attack and spear. Reed comes back, but Knight and Jey team up to send him over the top rope, with Jey diving after him. Bron then tries to attack Knight, but Knight is wise to it and BFTs the dog.
Jey then climbs to the top rope and lands an Uso splash, but the follow-up cover is thwarted by Reed, who pulls Jey from the ring. Knight dives out at Reed, but Reed sends him into the ring post before getting back into the ring to attack Jey. Jey avoids the incoming attack and super kicks the Aussie 3 times before landing a spear. He then goes high for the Uso splash, lands it, and then suffers a spear from Breakker when he stands up.
Breakker then covers and picks up the win. After the match, Jey suffers a beatdown, as does Knight, after he tried to save the Uso. Breakker then runs the ropes and spears Jey before holding him in place on the mat for Reed to tsunami him. Daddy Uso then runs out with a chair in hand as Bronson evacuate the ring. Raw goes off the air with Jey saying to his brother that he can't do it alone and that he needs him. Oh. Yeah, so, I mean, nice to see Jimmy there. So that's Jimmy and Jey, because obviously Roman's going to be out.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to bring Jacob over. I mean...
They all need to just be helping each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've got Knight as well, I suppose. I mean, whether they're going to phase him away and just have the 2 Usos against Bron and Breakker, but I don't know, it'd be interesting to see how that dynamic pans out now. If you've got any ideas, then, you know, just let us know. So anyway, now for Michael's moment of the night. This could be a match, a line, a look, a promo, something funny, interesting, quirky, different, just something that catches my eye. Obviously, it has to wait until the end, because if I do it halfway through and it's something that happens at the end, it's kind of a spoiler. So, Michael's moment of the night is El Grande Americano helping Dom retain his Intercontinental title. I mean, we all thought Dom was in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Bálor and McDonough you're not to go down to the ring. Pierce is saying this. So you're like, yeah, Dom's lost it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the night after a main event. Yeah, let's have another title change, or let's have a title change. Keep people on the toes. And it has kept us on the toes because El Grande Americano comes from absolutely nowhere. Well, he came from under the ring, but that's not the point. Yes, Becky Punk was good with her answering Punk's call, which we second guessed. As I say, from the line, the setup line was there. As I say, but retaining against all odds when most thought it would be curtains for him. I love that. But the caveat, of course, is you do like him. It's how Bálor's going to react. He's going to be furious.
He's going to be so livid.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
You can just imagine him on last... Yeah. I mean, I don't know who's playing. I mean, I don't know who El Grande Americano is, whether it's... I don't think it's one of the Creeds. I don't think it's Julius. Is it Julius? The tall one? Brutus. Beefcake.
Julius is the top.
Yeah. I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him. I mean...
Do you know who it is?
I haven't got a clue.
Oh. It's Ludwig.
It's Chad, isn't it?
I mean, it's Chad. Anyway, any thoughts that you have on who it might be, let us know in the comment section down below because we clearly have no idea.
Not a thought. Anyway, if you do watch, thank you very much.
And we'll see you Wednesday for a look at this past week in WWE and Saturday when we take a look at SmackDown.